Okay, let's roll right into our post race for today's 28th annual Cheez-It 355 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at Watkins Glen International. And our second place finisher is defending series champion Brad Keselowski. He drove the number 2 Miller Lite Ford for Penske Racing. And Brad, I know you wanted that win awfully bad. Just talk about how things were going out there this afternoon for the number 2 Ford.
Yeah, it was a strong day, absolutely. We had a shot at winning at the end, which sure was a lot of fun and came up, short. So 3 years in a row in second, that kind of stinks, but proud of the effort, proud of the recovery, because I dug us a deep hole very early in the race trying to pass McMurray, and I lost control and about knocked our race out right there and finished our car off. But good recovery and great positioning at the end. Just came up that little bit short again. So back to the drawing board. We'll go get them again next time we come back here and hopefully next week.
And Brad Keselowski's second place finish today. He now moves up to 8th in the points. He is 9 points ahead of 10th. So we'll take questions now for Brad. If you have them, raise your hand. We'll start to Holly, and then we'll get Lee and Reed.
NASCAR.com, and you just alluded to this, Brad, but obviously wanting to get the win, but also knowing what kind of a good points day that was. Does the points day part of it even go through your mind, or is it just win for you, especially having had the runner?
In my mind, Holly, points are great when you're in the chase. Before that, to me, it's about wins. Even if you don't end up in the top 20, I'd rather be a wild card with 4 or 5 wins than be a guy in the chase with 0 wins. So I guess I don't look at it that way. But I could have definitely dumped Kyle and won the race. That stuff goes back and forth, and I'm sure someone in the tabloid side of the media will make a big deal about that. But it won't be me, because I know I did the right thing.
Hang on a second, Brad. You switch mics, so you say that one's not working.
Not working?
No, I don't think they're getting audio.
This one okay?
Grab that. Well, let's do that one. Truex will take that.
Okay.
Which one?
Use that one right there. Thank you.
That was all I had for that question, Kerry. I don't know if you're...
Fine. We got it. We'll go to, did you need anything else, Holly? You good?
No, I just want to make sure that they've got the question transcribed.
I can't remember what I said.
Okay, let's do that again. The question was wins. Obviously, going for the win. Good points day. Your thoughts as far as wins and points?
Yeah, I mean, wins are a priority to me, without a doubt. When it comes to making the chase, I'd rather, like I said, be a team that has 5 or 6 wins and be a wild card, or 2 or 3 wins, whatever that might be, than be a team that made the chase with 0 wins. I guess that's the only way I can explain that. And I wasn't racing or running today thinking, boy, I need a great points day, even though I definitely was cognizant of the fact that the 5 and the 24, and obviously the troubles with Tony. But I didn't enter this race thinking, let's run 2nd or 3rd. That'll be great. That'd be a lot better than taking a risk of winning. Hell no, I wasn't thinking that. I want to win a race, and that's where my heart's at. I came in today and said, wouldn't it be awesome if I ran 2nd or 3rd, Martin? Weren't you thinking that too?
Yep. Martin Truex Jr. has joined us. He came in 3rd in today's race, and he drives the number 56 Napa Auto Parts Toyota from Michael Waltrip Racing. And Martin, talk about this. Certainly you were up in a position to contend for the win. Just talk about how things look from your vantage point.
Well, all in all, it was a good day. Obviously we wanted to win this race. It would have meant a lot to us, and we had a really fast car on newer tires. I think where we struggled the most was longer runs. As the runs went on, the 18 would start getting away from us, and felt like if we could have, we almost got the lead there that one restart when we had just pitted, the caution come out, and we had fresh tires when we took off. And I feel like if I just could have cleared them, got some of that clean air, it may have been, a different outcome. I may have been able to take care of my tires a little better, but we ended up having a bunch of restarts, and the air pressures got built up, and the car started sliding around a lot, and I just didn't quite have the grip that Kyle had, or even Brad on the longer runs. So You know, we were a third place car all day, just missed it a little bit, but all in all, a good day for us. And it's frustrating when you can just see the leader all day and you're right there behind him, but you just can't do anything about it. So tough day, but a good day all in all.
Martin finishes out today's race 10th in the points
Hey, good for you, bud.
with 1 victory. He is 2 points ahead of 11th.
Me neither.
Questions now for either Martin or Brad. Let's go to Lee and then Reed. This gentleman over here. Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, FoxSports.com. Brad, you said I didn't want to wreck him. I've had enough drama. Were you referring to last year's finish?
No, just in general. I've had a career full of a lot of drama, Martin.
You cause it all.
See, that's what everybody says. I feel like I'm innocent.
I mean, some of the things you say and do,
Yeah.
what do you expect?
I'm just having fun. You guys can call it drama. I call it having fun, but
You know, you guys know he says half of the stuff he says just to get you all fired up.
I'm keeping them all employed. Have you not seen how hard it is to be a journalist nowadays? Yeah. People getting laid off and fired. You're welcome, America.
So just drama in the course of the day?
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, in general, I mean, I don't know how you pick one period of drama. I mean, obviously, I spun out on my own. He missed that part, Martin.
I've seen it in my mirror.
He did? That was really smart of me.
I was clapping.
Golf clap?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. But, you know, that, and I felt like, I guess to rewind, I felt like, and I don't think Kyle would agree with this, but that's his choice. I felt like last year was a racing deal. You know, he went off the track. I filled the hole and he came down. If I would have wrecked him today, in my mind, it wouldn't have been a racing deal. It would have been just wrecking. And there's a huge difference. When somebody blocks you, that's different. When somebody runs off the track, pulls down in front of you, that's racing deals. Those are all just racing deals. When you just run in the back of someone and drive them head first into the wall, that's bullshit racing. And I just don't like it.
Earmuffs.
Go ahead, Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service.
Not it?
Two questions.
I agree, totally.
So are you saying that there wasn't any temptation at all? There wasn't the angel on one shoulder?
Well, there's
and the
always
devil on the other?
temptation, yeah. I mean, you're a married man. I'm sure you look through Maxim magazine. I mean, it's no different. Maybe something a little more vulgar than Maxim magazine. But I'm just saying there's always temptation. I know, but I'm just saying he probably has looked at a magazine with a girl in it that looks really hot. It doesn't mean there isn't temptation, but, you know, there's a level of respect and a code of honor that you have to have as a man.
You do it.
Okay. And second, after you spun, you and Paul were going back and forth a lot in terms of strategy, in terms of fuel only,
Yep.
2 tires, et cetera. But that all seemed to work out in the end. Could you talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
Paul just saved my butt after I tried to screw up the day. You know, we've had some races where strategy has bit us in the butt royally, and today was one of those days where we caught a good break. You know, that's just being quite frank about it. And unfortunately, we didn't capitalize on it, which is, you know, disappointing. Capitalize it in the sense of a win. But this is the first race in a long time where I could say we've caught a break, and I don't even feel like I need good breaks. I just don't want any bad breaks. Today we caught a good break, and that's part of what put us in a position to win the race.
Go over here to the gentleman to the left, and then we'll go to Bob, and then to Stan.
Bob Benz from the Corning Leader. Brad, just talk about the level of frustration of just coming so close at this track 3 straight years, and do you dwell on little things that you may have done, you know, differently?
Yeah, I mean, I move on pretty quick. It'd probably take me a day or so to move on, and then when I come back to this racetrack and everybody shows the reruns of the last few years, you kind of dwell on it again. But you know, I'll be over it by the time we get to next week's race in Michigan.
Over here to Bob, and then to Stan.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Brad, does it hurt any more to lose to Kyle Busch?
Well, I mean, he's good. It doesn't hurt more, no. Maybe if we were in the chase and there was one race to go and he was the points leader and I was running second, yeah, but just because he's Kyle Busch doesn't mean it hurts more. He's a great driver, and I have a lot of respect for him accordingly. I don't really hold any personal grudges against him to make it hurt anymore. Maybe it's, you know, that's not reciprocal. I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but not for me, no.
Go ahead, Stan.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. This is actually for both of you. What, if any, difference is there when you're at a road course like this and you can just see the leader and you're trying everything you can to grab him to take the lead and the win?
Well, I mean, I don't feel it's that much different than an oval track. I mean, you know, you see the leader, you want to catch him and pass him. That's what we're here to do. So it's obviously the way you go about it's different, and you know, it's easier, I would say, to pressure the leader into making a mistake at a place like this than it is an oval. You know, just because of the braking zones, and you know, you go 5 or 6 feet too far into turn one and you miss it, you're going to get past for the lead. So you kind of approach it a little different than you do an oval, I would say, and I think Brad would probably agree with me on that. But you know, at the end of the day, it still is all about, if you can see the leader, you know, you're tasting it, you want it, you know, you're doing everything you can to try to get the lead.
Yeah, Stan, I would mostly agree with what Martin said, with, you know, the only exception being a road course. It's a little easier to force a mistake and the driver ahead of you. So I know Martin's really good at that, and Marcos and those guys are all really good at that. And so that changes some of your discipline to racing.
Any additional questions? All the way in the back. Gentleman in the blue shirt.
Rick Huey, Finger Lakes News Radio. The S's today were a bone of contention in a lot of situations, and you guys escaped them. Martin, I know earlier in your career here you had an incident there, and we're on the bottom of the pile. Some thoughts about the S's area?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, that's like the highest speed part of the track. It's very blind, you know, especially when you get too wide, and if you get in certain situations in traffic and you really can't tell where you're at. But you got to stay in the gas, or you're going to get run over or passed by a bunch of guys. So that's just that place, you know, it's just a recipe for disaster. It's really narrow, it's really fast. There's curbs on both sides. I mean, if you miss it by a couple inches, you know, you're gonna be in a wreck. So it's a little bit easier when you're up front. Brad and I were side by side a couple times through there. Me and Kyle went up through there side by side once. But I'm telling you, you're on pins and needles, and you're just waiting for something bad to happen when you do it. So it's definitely a tough deal, and you know, you get back in the pack there. It's you get blinded. It's hard to see where those curbs and things are at, and that's what causes wrecks up through there.
Let's go to Kristen right here in the green.
Kristen Bogosian, NASCAR.com. You guys both moved up 4 spots this week after the race today. How do you feel about going into the tracks you have for the next few weeks?
You want to take this one?
Sure, you did a great job with the last one. How do I feel about the next? Is it 4 races left to the chase?
4 races.
4 races, and we're at Michigan, Bristol, Atlanta, Richmond.
Yes, sir.
Well, with the exception of Michigan, I would say I feel very, very strongly about how we're going to finish out the race of the chase. We ran very strongly at Bristol in the spring and have a great track record there. Atlanta, we just came off a tire test. That went very, very well. And then we have a team-specific Richmond test coming up in a week and a half. So 3 out of the 4, I'm expecting us to have great speed and a potential shot at winning. Michigan's been one of our weaker tracks. The repaved style of track hasn't been one of my favorites or go-tos, but we're very optimistic that we can at least get a solid finish like we did in the spring there. So I really see no reason why we can't sustain our position in the points, if not improve it before the chase starts. But more importantly, as I was explaining to Howie, I would rather have a win or 2 and be a wild card than finish 7th or 8th and squeak my way in without any wins, because the momentum of a win and the confidence builder it instills in both yourself and the fear that it puts in your competition is more than worth it.
You want me to
Any more
answer,
questions?
Too? Yeah.
Bob?
I got.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Martin, add to that, please.
I feel really good, honestly. You know, the last 3 weeks, I felt like if we could just get through those 3 weeks, you know, those 3 flat tracks, which we didn't set the world on fire by any means. We struggled, but we struggled to 11th at Indy and, 15th or something at Pocono. And even though those were terrible results, they were good for us. So I feel really good from here on out. I'm a lot like Brad. Bristol's been really good for us. We've run well there. There is a lot of risk involved with that track because a lot of things can happen there. But obviously looking forward to going to Atlanta. That's always been one of my better tracks, and we come close to winning there last year. Michigan, I think we ran really well there the first race this year, and so I think we're in good shape. We just need to, there's a lot of things that can happen in 4 races. We just need to keep doing what we've been doing and keep racing hard. It seems like this year, every time we got ourselves in a comfortable position in points, we had a really bad weekend, out of our control. Places like Daytona and engine problems and things that we've had throughout the year. So the points are what they are. We're just going to go racing and try to do what we know how to do.
Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Brad, going into that last lap or during that last lap, where was the best place for you to possibly force him to make a mistake or make the pass?
Oh, I don't know. Really, all of the corners. There wasn't one particular corner specifically. Maybe that's why I didn't pass him, is I didn't figure out one particular corner. But I was just slightly better than him really through every section on the last lap, and just needed to be a little closer to really affect it. Well, I got pretty damn close, but needed a little more time that close to him to really make a difference.
Anybody else?
We needed it not to be a green-white checkered. If that race would have been a 5 or 6 lap, run, I think we could have done it.